Hello everyone, back to the SMITE Comprehensive Guide to Jungle. This is Hun Batz. Now, I have to address something with the way people build Hun Batz right off the bat, specifically in regards to Transcendence. Every once in a while in Jungle, you'll see a jungler build Transcendence as their first item after their starter item. But this is particularly prevalent with Hun Batz. Now, that's not necessarily wrong, but I am going to put in a word of caution here. If you're facing off against literally any other assassin, then you're taking a bit of a gamble. See, Transcendence is harder to stack in the jungle role than any laning role because you only have access to 2 to 3 minions per jungle camp and you have to actually travel between them, which can take a little bit of time. So it can be somewhat difficult to stack those up. As a result, unless you do particularly well in the early game, you it's going to take a little while for that to stack up. Additionally, if you are facing off against any legitimate assassin, I'm not facing one off here, so I might go Transcendence. Then if you make enough fatal mistakes, then you're not going to have a jungle to build those stacks with. Okay, from the looks of this, I don't see a single assassin. I might be able to get away with a nice, spicy early game Transcendence. I might be able to do that. We'll see. No, I'm not going to this match. We might as well go for it. What the heck? We're gonna go for this because my landing opponent isn't. My landing opponent is not a assassin, so I actually have the opportunity. We should probably go for Aegis to use this now because my opponent isn't an assassin jungler. This means that if I make a mistake, it's not going to be as harshly punished. They're not going to be able to spend as long on my side of the jungle because they don't move as quickly baseline, and I actually stand a decent shot at this. But if my opponent was an assassin, then if I did make enough mistakes, typically in my experience, it's 2 to 3, depending on how egregious these errors are, then they'll come in, steal your jungle, and you're going to have an even harder time building those stacks. If you want to play it safe, your first item should be Jotun's Wrath for the cooldown, the power, and then you can also evolve it into the version that gives your abilities lifesteal, which will give you a little bit of survivability overall in terms of your ability to fight for extended periods of time. So that is really what we're talking about here in terms of Transcendence. So whether or not you can get away with Transcendence with Hun Batz is going to depend on how fast your jungling opponent is. In this case, I should be able to do it. This was a very fast E-set. Where's their... Oh, they're over in right lane. Okay. Grab the Spirit Monkey. I'm going to head right over here because I'm just assuming for the sake of argument that this is where the enemy jungler went. Whoever their jungler is. Who is their jungler? No? There they are. It's Danzabaru. Alright. I figured they'd come over here. Ooh. I don't actually need to be here, to be honest. That was a mistake. That was an interesting interaction, though. I will give you that. just gonna go back. We're gonna grab Charged Morningstar. Okay, so that was a bit of an odd interaction overall. I timed this beautifully. Very good, alright. Now Habwa being a mage, he's a little less durable. He hits a little harder than Sun Wukong is going to, which is probably why Danzaburou was going to go over there in the first place. It's very likely Danza stopped to do his camps first. I'm going to go in ahead and clear this, that way Habwa doesn't have to worry about it. Alright, good. Now, as for starter items, I generally prefer Boomba's Dagger, but if you are more comfortable using Hun Batz with the Jungle Egg, that is fine. He works really well with both of these starter items. Ah, shoot. I didn't need that poke, thank you. Although we did force Eset down under tower, so that's good at least. After this, we're going to clear the damage camp, because that's where Janos is going to go next. And absolutely delightful. Now, Danzaburou was a little ahead of me, because probably they stole more of Sun Wukong's minions when we were both hanging around in lane. I don't need to be here either. I'm just going to clear the oracles. I thought there was a gank opportunity in left lane. There is not. Alright, good. Okay. Easily fixed. There's a bunch of mana for that. Not sure where Danza went afterwards, but... Alright. Now, you're always going to want to start with overhand... It is overhand smash. I keep calling it overhead smash. It's overhand. But it's going to do you the most damage in the early game. The scaling on it is pretty good, but overall... Actually, the scaling on it is excellent, but it's going to be your primary damage ability. The other two function as either initiation or escape abilities. They aren't pure damage like overhand smash. So you're going to want to level that up first. Besides its disgusting scaling. I'm just assuming Danza's heading left. Alright, now we have enough gold for Transcendence. We're going to just immediately go back and buy that. We want to be stacking that up as quickly as possible. We will absolutely... If you have the time, and I had the time there was nothing going on in the left. Janos just returned back to base from mid. Habwa wasn't in danger, and I will need to keep an eye on that. That's kind of sketchy looking for a position. But anyways, we need to be working on these stacks as much as possible as a jungler. Again, stacks can be kind of hard to come by as a jungler. Not only do you have to... not only are you only working on basically 3 per, but you also have to be aware of the fact, and jungle mains will definitely attest to this, that a lot of the times you are splitting camps with someone else, which means you're also not necessarily always going to get those stacks even given that situation as well. So it's something you really have to be careful with when building stacks. See, Ymir is following me right now. He's going to probably accidentally steal some... No, he kept that one clear. Good, good. Alright, so the Ymir is aware. I'm going to ignore the Ymir right there in mid for the moment. I don't think he's in legitimate trouble. Now, at this particular point, I'm going to start increasing the Sacred Monkey ability, because you can use that as a form of camp clear, as you've probably noticed. Very helpful in that regard. Oh, we need to be doing something in mid. Now, also, it's fairly interesting to note that Hun Batz, out of all the assassins, actually plays more like a physical mage than anything else. He's basically a fast physical mage. I was kind of hoping that that would be a little bit more effective, but that's okay. Oh, why is... Can we talk about the fact that Chi Blanc is over here? Danzer's gonna try to kill me. You're gonna try to kill me. Interesting. Alright, we're just gonna get out of here. Rum's coming in, that's fine. Now we're gonna go back. We have a bunch of different options we can take in terms of our ability to heal. If we wanted to, we could go for a Soul Eater that's a lot easier to stack with a jungler. We're actually going to go on ahead and do that. Clearly, I am seeing a need for this. Having barely survived, some lifesteal would have been good there. I intend on building some more ability-based lifesteal later on. But we're going to have all kinds of good fun going on here. Actually, no. I think I might not necessarily go for Soul Eater. No, I think I probably should, to be honest. I think that's going to be my better option. And then we're going to go for some really good times. Yeah, Soul Eater is definitely my best option right here. Oh, he just used his... Why is Ymir that far up? He shouldn't be that far up. There we go. Now, the nice thing about Sacred Monkey, you can do... No, you don't. I'm not sure... Oh, he was just trying to take the... Okay, he was trying to do... Now, I've referenced this before, but if your lane gets ganked and you're counter-ganking, your minimum goal there is to kill the laning... The enemy laner. In this case, that would have been Habwa. We just killed Sun Wukong, so what Danzabutter wanted to do there was just take out the Hun Batz. Not the Hun Batz, the Habwa. I'm the Hun Batz. But, by killing Habwa and then just leaving, that would theoretically level out the lane. The problem is he had not nearly enough health to be doing that with. So that's kind of where that went south. Now, this is a pure, perfect demonstration of why you want to build Transcendence against non-assassin junglers. I'm already done. I haven't really had a lot of issue getting my stacks because I've been able to pretty freely clear my camps, pretty freely clear waves. We're just going to clear this really quick. There we go. I don't want to really hang around too long. I'm not that particularly healthy. I have enough for Soul Eater. I really should have gone back. I shouldn't have done that damage camp. I should have just gone back and let them do it. Alright, now that we have that, we're going to start working towards Hydra's Lament. There's a reason for this very specifically. Hydra's Lament is the one item I will say, if you're playing Hun Batz, I don't care what role you're playing as, build Hydra's Lament, because it stacks really nicely with infused strikes. After using an ability, your next basic attack deals 15% extra damage. That stacks with Hydra's Lament, and it gets very ugly very quickly. You will find yourself absolutely slapping. Hydra's Lament, just to reiterate it, because this is hyper important for Hun Batz, Hydra's Lament is the only item you should always build on Hun Batz, regardless of role, because you will hit incredibly hard. There are some people who like to build crits on Hun Batz for this reason. I'm not as fond of that because you're really trying to alternate autos with abilities. Nowadays, the Deathbringer with the evolution that gives you decreased cooldowns on every time you get a crit, that might be worth it. So nowadays, possibly splashing in Deathbringer might work, but I generally still don't. I think I wasted my ult. Oh, no, I didn't. Not necessarily. Trying not to die to Blanca over here. My dude is still slapping pretty hard. That's because he's 2-0. Wow. Alright. Alright. Timed that wrong. I timed that really wrong. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That was terrible. Alright, I'm going to just go back because I can pick up my speed buff. Grab Hydra's Star to at least get myself a nice boost. We're ahead, and we're pretty decently far ahead, so I'm going to go on ahead and grab Blink. Going to try to snowball and capitalize on that momentum there. Now, you might be wondering, why Soul Eater? Well, first off, absolutely all of Hun Batz's abilities deal damage, so you're going to be healing off of all of them. Plus, the bonus damage from your auto attacks means you still get the really nice boost in terms of regular lifesteal. So overall, it just works out really well with Soul Eater. I was originally not going to get this. I was going to get Jotun's Wrath with the one that did ability damage, but I like the combined regular lifesteal and ability lifesteal because it really just goes better with the way he operates, alternating between abilities and auto attacks. It works out a lot better that way. Alright. And then we're just going to go right on ahead and throw that there. Did we not finish that? We did. There we go. I'm going to go on ahead and take this on. Looks like we're about to have a fight in mid. Alright, fair enough. Oh, we are definitely about to have a fight in mid. You cannot aim that. And this E set hits like a wet noodle. Boom! Aegis for the win. Oh! I'm dead. They just picked that side. I can't decide if they knew I was heading that way and picked that side intentionally, or if it was just pure accident. It's about a 50-50. Anyways, we have Hydra's Lament, we have our stacks. So that's really, really good at this particular point. Now, what we will want next is really going to depend. Again, we could go Deathbringer with the... I'm not going to. At this particular point in time... Do we need it? Oh, we probably should build anti-heal, yeah. Now, I'm going to go on ahead and be building Brawler's Beatstick for my anti-heal, very specifically because it is going to give me power, whereas Toxic Blade does not. So we're going to go with that option there. And then we're going to finish up with Serrated Edge for penetration. It's going to give us 30% penetration. Now, you might be wondering, well, Professor, why not go with, say, Heartseeker as an example? I'll build Heartseeker on Hun Batz if the enemy team is abnormally tanky. That becomes very useful then. I don't usually build Shinsai's because, again, you are alternating the abilities with the attacks. I know you're already dead. You really are. Oh, I already know how this is going to end. He's going to jump away. And hi. And goodbye. Right, yeah. That first kill for the Habwa was really key for getting him where he needed to be. It's really tough beating a fed Habwa. It really is. Especially if you built right, which, oh, he absolutely built right. That's what I like to see. Okay. I was a little concerned for a second there. But nah, he's fine. No, we can take this. We totally can take this. Just use abilities more so that way you can activate your passive than anything else. There we go. Alright, slap you. Good. Now, again, we'll be building Brawler's Beatstick for our anti-heal. You can, theoretically, you can play Hun Batz full ability or full... well, you can build him that way and just alternate between the two. I don't usually play him attack speed based because that really doesn't take full advantage of his passive quite the same way. Playing a lot of cooldowns is a little bit better because you get to activate the passive more often. Because there's actually no internal cooldown for that, for his passive ability. Every time you cast an ability, your next auto attack, boom, gets bonus damage. So the faster your cooldowns are, generally speaking, the more often you can use his passive. So I tend to build him a lot like an ability-based jungler, but I splash in the occasional piece of extra auto attack consideration. Nice. Okay, we are now in trouble. This is death for me. Yeah. The She-Blanca coming out of nowhere definitely was the end of me. We'll be able to... We should be able to get Brawler's Beatstick when we respawn, so that's going to be fine. Yeah, Ymir's going to not make it out of that. Oh, wait. No, he goofed his freeze. That's a shame. Can Habwa save this? I'm doubting it. He's got his ult. He's going to need to ult somebody here. Nope. He waited too long. He should have just ulted. He would have made it out if he'd ulted, I think. Or at least he would have stood a much better chance. Likely what would have happened is he would have ulted through Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong would have chased him in tiger form, stunned him. It would have gotten really ugly. I don't think it ultimately would have made a huge difference, but... Alright. Yeah, no, I don't think I'll need Heartseeker here. I could. Grab... Well... No, I think I'll go for Heartseeker, and the reason why is because if I go for Serrated Edge, which is what I was originally going to go for, I'm going to overcap my pen, which I don't want. It's kind of pointless. So we're going to go on ahead and go for Heartseeker there. Perfect. Now, the reason why I personally prefer Boomba's Dagger compared to... the Jungle Egg is because the Boomba's Spear, every time you clear a jungle camp with Boomba's Spear, you get a 10% power spike, which really helps your passive out a good bit. It's very nice for that little bit of extra damage, especially when you combine it with Hydra's Lament. So that's generally why I do prefer Boomba's Spear a little bit, specifically so I can get that little benefit there. Actually, I might be able to solo this, to be honest. I goofed that auto attack cancel wrong. Jump right over the flames. Ah, shoot. I'm not entirely sure where Habwa came from, but I'm trying not to die out here. You are paying some attention to me. You gonna follow me in here? You are. You absolutely massacred me, but now you're in a really ugly position, and I think you're gonna get picked up. Yeah, he's not gonna make it out of that. That's fine. I'm going ahead and grab this really quick while we're dead. How is Fafnir building? Okay. That was a good hit. Alright, so... I basically just entered the battle a little too early. That was my primary issue there, is I entered the fight just a hair too early. Fire Giant's already down, so at least we don't have to worry about that. And... perfect. Alright. Problem is I didn't have my ults. That would have really helped. I needed to hit that. Oh, we're ganking. Okay. I think I'm going to die for this, but... how deep are you going to dive, huh? You're not going to dive this time? Fair enough. That is a very durable Xbalanque. It is a very fed Xbalanque, which probably has a lot to do with it. It can heal off of minions. I just need half a second. Look, I'm trying to get myself back up to fighting shape. Hold on a second, will ya? I need a bit of time. Alright, we're going to grab Boomba's spear so we can actually more heavily participate. I know some people prefer Boomba's hammer. That is also pretty good. I just don't like how it's only 70 true damage. That's not really that much. Yes, you get healed. But active cooldown is reduced by 0.5 seconds. Just doesn't impress me. I'd rather have the 10% cooldown and the bonus power and stuff. I find it more generally useful. No. Retreat and regroup. Okay. Got him. Good. Oh, you're going to kill me? Is this... yes. That's exactly what I needed. I'll take their damage buff, whatever. Oh, they're both over here. Okay, that's pretty useful. Again, that's the beauty of Boomba's spear. I can heal off of all of these jungle camps. I'm already back to full. Right? Boomba's hammer is, in my opinion, overrated. It is good, don't get me wrong, but I think it's overrated, and I think it's purchased in a lot of situations in which Boomba's spear is actually the better choice. And granted, keep in mind, Boomba's hammer is really good on Hun Batz. 70 bonus true damage is still really good, considering the rest of his kit. No, you don't. Nice try, though. It was a cute attempt. It really was. And that's something I actually want to really praise Hun Batz on very specifically, compared to literally every other assassin in the game. He has an unusually potent teamfight presence, and his ability to defend jungle camps using his ult like that is absolutely insane, and that's something that not a lot of other junglers can do. I can't even think of any that can pull something like that off the top of my head. It's just absolutely phenomenal. It really is. He is extremely unusual in his ability to do things like that with his ult. Look, I saw Xbalanque over here, and Xbalanque right now is the only one on their team doing well at all. He's hard carrying his team. If we can kill Xbalanque, we win the fight. That's basically what it comes down to. So as a jungler, what I'm doing right now is I'm just looking for him. I just want him dead. That is my goal, because I now understand, having been in a couple of fights against him. Look, Xbalanque goes, the rest of the team goes. And again, this is something that not a lot of people talk about in regards to jungling, is when you switch into this stage of the game, which is the team fight stage, your goal is not to farm the jungle. I'm grabbing the speed buff here because there he is. I'm guessing he has beads, and there's Fafnir, so I don't really want to press this, but I now know where he is. Anyways, back to the point. In the late game, your goal as a jungler is to single out and eliminate the particularly threatening enemies. This is usually going to be the ADC or the mid. Sometimes this is the enemy jungler. Every once in a while, it's the solo lane. Regardless of who it is, whoever is decidedly carrying the team, it is your job as a jungler in the late game to hunt them down and eliminate them, and Hun Batz is really good at this due to his passive. So, that is what I'm doing right now. I'm just, waiting for a good opportunity to slap my boy Xbalanque. And right now he's got his beads, so it's not what I would call a good opportunity at this time, but that opportunity will absolutely come. Besides, right now, we as a team are clearly, at least my allies are clearly indicating that we are not looking for a team fight. We just got a free Danzabaru, so that was nice. Take out this. Yeah. Okay. That was a nice hit by Janus there. Did she just try to heal just the... Alright, there's his ult. There's you. You beads to that, alright. I'm gonna get out of here then. That was my big move. He tried. He was trying to take out Eset, I think. I'm not healthy enough to make that attempt. Now, with all three of them there, doing all that damage, no, that's just not going to happen, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave that one alone. We have the two Phoenixes. We're just going to bail out of here. I unfortunately wasn't able to kill Xbalanque in that, but at the very least we got two of their Phoenixes, all their towers. No one died. Good enough for me. I was able to at least be part of the reason Xbalanque bailed. Mostly just by taking his beads, to be honest. That was about my contribution to that. But good enough. Perfect. Alright. Very nice. Now I'm just going to go back. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade my relics. Probably buy a power potion. Maybe a sentry. No, that's not what I want to get out of here with that nonsense. Alright. We're going to go on ahead and sentry the fire giant. And I think at that point we'll probably be able to clean this up. I am going to grab the speed camp here. Specifically, so that way if Xbalanque busts out his ult, I can still keep up with him. Or, well, I can probably keep up with him anyways, but it just is kind of that guarantee. Overtake him, actually. It's the difference between me keeping up with my boy and overtaking him. Since Xbalanque does get boosted movement speed during his ult, he would about be at my default move speed. And again, I'm just saving up my ult in case somebody makes an attempt here, and I need to keep them off the fire giant. I was hoping to cut him off, but I didn't. Too slow. I reacted too slowly. Oh, alright. That was incredibly fast. I tell ya. Hun Batz absolutely slaps. Behold my baseline damage of 300 and stuff. Keep in mind, this is a sport. Oh, holy cow, I'm taking a lot of damage from the Titan. Back off, Grim Reaper. I ain't done killing people yet. Nice, beautiful. Alright, that was a little bit of a faster match, so I do apologize for that, but also I want to keep in mind that I keep calling him a laning opponent, my jungling opponent was not an assassin. As a result of that, I was able to build Transcendence, whereas in an equivalent match against another assassin, I probably would not have been able to get away with that unless I was able to pull ahead and get some nice early wins. Again, it comes down to basically you can do well with Transcendence against assassin opponents. The difference here is the risk involved. It's much less risky to build Transcendence in against a non-assassin because again, if you make a mistake, your baseline move speed is a little higher than theirs. You can recover a little bit, you can move from camp to camp a little bit faster. You have a bit more leeway to recover if you make a mistake. And if the enemy makes a mistake, which the Danzaburou did here, if your non-assassin jungling opponent has made a mistake or enough mistakes, as an assassin, you can capitalize on that a little bit better. The only real flaw of Hun Batz as a jungler is his primary method of zipping around the jungle faster than normal is a leap, which costs mana. A lot of other assassins have some form of consistent move speed boost or something. Hun Batz only really is able to move quickly over walls compared to a lot of his peers. Take, for example, as a prime example, Awelish. She has Sugu, who she can ride for boosted movement speed and also jumps as well. Mercury just has a passive move speed buff attached to his second ability. It doesn't cost mana at all. He's also got a dash on top of that. So if he needs to get somewhere quickly, not only does he have increased baseline movement speed, but he's also got a dash, and his ult is also something he can use to traverse ground extremely quickly. Thanatos, his ult of course allows him to traverse ground fairly quickly as well, but he's also got a move speed boost that is even greater when he's approaching someone near death. There's multiple ways you can use that to jungle if you know Thanatos really well, but these are just 3 examples of assassins that outpace Hun Batz on a move speed level. Um, and again, that's not saying that Hun Batz is slow. He can jump over walls, something Thanatos and Mercury can't do. In fact, I would say the only jungler that Hun Batz really hates going against is Awelish, because not only can she emulate his leap, but she also just moves faster on Suku, so she's just a pain in the neck for pretty much anyone, though, but that's beside the point. At the end of the day, Hun Batz just is a bit higher risk against a lot of his fellow assassins. He either dominates like we did here with a 9-3 score, or he just crashes and burns, and to take Transcendence against an assassin jungler emphasizes that. Now, if I were against an assassin jungler, I probably would have started with Jotun's Wrath instead. 20% cooldowns, you can evolve that into some ability-based healing. It's a beautiful thing, and my next item would have been Hydra's Lament, and my 4th item would have been Soul Eater, because I would have had the Jotun's Wrath, the evolved... Actually, I'm sorry, it's not the evolved. The glyphed Jotun's Wrath. I can't remember which glyph it is. It's the one on the right with the extra spikes. The glyph Jotun's Wrath would have provided me with a certain amount of healing, so I could have waited on Soul Eater until a little bit later in the match. Hydra's Lament would have been more useful at that point. That would have been 30% cooldown, 10% pen. Would have been a really magical time. Then go into Soul Eater. We would wind up overcapping on cooldown when we finish Boomba's Spear, but that's fine. And then I probably would have progressed as normal from there. So this would have been Jotun's Wrath. I would have flipped these two. These I would have kept the same. And then, unless they didn't have enough healing, in which case I probably would have busted out the Crusher, and then just go into Boomba's Spear. And you can absolutely see where once Hun Batz starts pulling ahead, he's pretty hard to stop, because his passive is a bonus 15% damage. My auto attack, what was my basic attack damage? My basic attack damage was 548. All right, That is a surprisingly large amount of damage. 548 times 0.15. That's 82 extra damage. That's basically 2 items that are worth. That is almost as much bonus damage as what Transcendence provides me, okay? And that doesn't even include the extra 35% from Hydrazement, which is 192. I'm rounding up there. So in total, I was busting out like 270 odd damage on my follow-up auto attacks for, well, obviously Hydra's Lament has an 8-second cooldown, but the two of them together was busting out 270 bonus damage, and Hydra's Lament was activating once every 8 seconds, and the rest of the time I was still busting out 82 damage per bonus hit. It's a large amount of damage, and while you don't hear 82 damage and think, wow, that's really, that's making a big difference, remember, his passive does not have a cooldown like Hydra's Lament does. You can do that 82 damage after every cast, which is why cooldown is so important for him, which is why you start with Jotun's Wrath if you're not going Transcendence. You want that 20% cooldown. You want the 10% on the Hydra's Lament. You want the 10% on the Soul Eater. Yes, you'll wind up overcapping when you hit Boomba's Spear. That's fine. You have built up within 3 items 40% cooldown. Now, it's okay to go 30% before then because, again, Boomba's Spear, but Jotun's Wrath will give you that 20%, and that's what you're really looking for. Again, this is also why I generally tend to go Heartseeker instead of, say, Chin Size. The abilities you're already trying to bust out as often as possible anyways, so why not capitalize with Heartseeker? If you prefer Chin Size, you can go right on ahead and use that. He plays equally well with either of them. I only prefer Heartseeker. The edge on Heartseeker is the 10% physical penetration, to be completely honest. That kind of edges it out compared to Chin Size. You get that extra 10% pen, and that's just a fantastic thing. Chin Size does not have that, so that would be... I recommend Heartseeker over Chin Size, just for the penetration, if not for anything else. It's got great power. Instead of 40 power and an attack speed boost, it's 65 power and 10% pen, and roughly the ability version of Chin Size passive, obviously. You already all know this. And see, this is also, I think, an interestingly over-purchased item, because that is 20% of their current health, so it's only really useful at the... The problem is it's only really useful at the start of the fight, and then after that, that passive means nothing, right? Now, for an assassin, for a jungler, generally speaking, that's usually fine in the early to mid game, but you get into the late game and now you're fighting prolonged team fights, it can get a little bit harder for this to work, and especially with Danzaburou, who's not really that stealthy. I mean, the build, comparatively speaking, was fine, although building Transcendence was again a gamble, equally as much of a gamble for Danzaburou, except Danzaburou has lower baseline move speed, so this was slightly actually more risky, and because I killed Danzaburou... No, I didn't kill Danzaburou early on, somebody else did. Because Danzaburou died earlier than I did, he died first between the two of us, that really nerfed his ability to finish this in a decent amount of time. I was able to get ahead, and then roll that into a nice, quick Transcendence, and then I was able to roll that into a kill, and I was just able to keep rolling into glorious stacks. With a little bit of luck, there was that one wave that was just overstacked that I was able to pull a lot of stacks from, so that was really helpful, but this was a risk that Danzaburou gambled basically their whole early game on. The rest of the build was pretty standard, it was totally fine, but this was a gamble, and because I won our first engagement, basically, by them dying to I can't remember who, but just by Danzaburou dying first, that was a big advantage for me, because I was already working on Transcendence, I got to finish it first, I got to finish stacking it first, Danzaburou took longer because they died. earlier. And so I think this would be the only mistake by the real Sylvanas. Just this. It's, again, it's not a mistake necessarily by itself. On paper, it's a gamble. But in practice, Dansborough was, again, slower than Hun Batz is. So you are basically willingly taking this risk in a mild disadvantageous position. So I'm going to have to say this was, I think, too big of a risk for the situation. Other than that, is there anything here that's really standing out and screaming bizarre at me? No. Other than the boldness of Ymir to build the Hide of the Urchin, but we were grossly ahead at that point, so I can see why that was done. Yeah, no, that's... I'll be coming back to Hun Batz again. This is not going to be the only Hun Batz episode. This was very specifically requested by Miles Horton. We will be talking about Hun Batz again in the jungle, and also in the solo lane, where he does okay, I guess I would say. That's a conversation for the future, though. In the meantime, thank you all very much for joining me. If you liked this, please like and subscribe. If you didn't, please ignore me. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, ideas, suggestions, or requests, please leave them down in the comment section below. And thank you all very much for joining me, and have a great 24 hours.